Let me ask you something straight from the heart. Have you ever looked at someone wildly successful, not just rich in money, but in freedom, confidence, and peace, and thought, what do they know that I don't? Here's the truth most people will never tell you. It's not about luck. It's not about talent. It's not even about education. It's about training your mind to think differently. Millionaires, true millionaires, don't just have more money. They have a completely different operating system. They respond to failure differently. They handle fear differently. They choose focus over distraction, ownership over blame, and vision over comfort. And the best part? You don't need $1 million to start thinking like one. You just need a decision, a commitment to rewire how you think, how you react, how you move through life. Because if you can train your mind, you can transform your life, period. So today, I'm not just going to motivate you, I'm going to hand you the blueprint, the 6 mental shifts that separate average from unstoppable. But you have to be all in. Turn off the noise, drop the excuses, and open up that part of you that's hungry for more. Let's go all in together. Let's train your mind like a millionaire starting right now. You know, one of the most powerful forces on this planet isn't money, it's not connections, it's not some secret strategy. It's the story you tell yourself every single day. That inner dialogue running in your head, it's shaping your reality moment by moment. Most people never stop to ask, whose voice am I listening to in my head, and is it lifting me or limiting me? Because if you dig deep, most of us are walking around with a mental script that wasn't even written by us. It came from our upbringing, our past failures, our fears, or even other people's opinions. Let me tell you something. If you want to train your mind like a millionaire, you've got to take control of that script. Millionaires don't wake up thinking, I hope I make it today. They wake up knowing I've already won in my mind. Now I just need to make the moves. That confidence, it's not ego, it's training. They've conditioned their minds to focus on what's possible, not on what could go wrong. They've learned to interrupt fear with belief, to challenge doubt with action, and to override negativity with purpose. Most people lose the battle before they even begin because they let their inner voice talk them out of greatness. You're not smart enough. You failed before. What if it doesn't work? Sound familiar? That's not your voice. That's the echo of your past. And you don't need to obey it anymore. You've got to reprogram that internal language. Start catching yourself when the excuses show up. Interrupt them, replace them with empowering beliefs. I'm not saying lie to yourself. This isn't about fake positivity. This is about being intentional. It's about choosing to speak from vision instead of fear. Choosing thoughts that move you forward instead of thoughts that keep you stuck. The mind, like a muscle, responds to repetition. The more you feed it thoughts of strength, discipline, purpose, the more automatic those thoughts become. You don't wait to feel confident. You speak confidence until your nervous system starts to believe it's real. And here's the kicker. Your brain believes whatever you tell it most consistently. So when you start affirming your power, your goals, your worth, your identity, it responds. It starts aligning your emotions, your focus, your energy, and your actions. That's when the shift happens. That's when you go from trying to win to expecting it. So if you're serious about training your mind like a millionaire, start with the voice in your head. Make it your coach, not your critic. Because the moment you master your inner world, the outer world starts falling into place. The story you tell yourself will either chain you or it will change you. Let's get real. One of the hardest things for people to do in today's world is wait. We live in a culture that's addicted to speed, fast results, instant gratification, one-click everything. We're being trained every day to expect everything now. But let me tell you something that millionaires, high performers, and peak achievers have mastered. They know how to delay pleasure to dominate later. They're not chasing quick wins. They're building long-term legacies. Most people want the reward without the process. They want success without sacrifice. But if you're not willing to pay the price today, you're going to keep paying the consequences tomorrow. Millionaires understand that discipline is the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. They train themselves to say no to the easy path because they're committed to the extraordinary one. And I get it. Delayed gratification doesn't feel good in the moment. It's uncomfortable. You're saying no to going out so you can work on your dream. You're waking up early when your body wants to sleep. You're investing money into a business when everyone else is spending it on things that fade. It's not fun at first. But here's the truth. Every moment you choose discipline over distraction, you're building a version of yourself that's unstoppable. You see, your mind has to understand the difference between relief and reward. Most people are addicted to relief. They chase things that give them an escape. Netflix binges, scrolling endlessly, comfort food, procrastination, all just to avoid the discomfort of discipline. But millionaires, they're addicted to results. They sacrifice comfort now to create a life of freedom, fulfillment, and options later. It's about shifting your relationship with pain. The pain of sacrifice, that's the pain of growth. It's the pain that pays you back. But the pain of regret, that's the one that lingers, that drains your energy and steals your confidence. You've got to decide which one you're willing to live with. This isn't about becoming robotic or never enjoying your life. It's about priorities. It's about having a clear enough vision that you can say, I'll wait, I'll grind, I'll show up even when I don't feel like it. Because you know that every disciplined decision is a down payment on your future self. When you study people who've built real wealth, not just financially, but mentally, emotionally, spiritually, you'll see a pattern. They mastered the art of restraint. They knew how to delay the party today so they could own the building tomorrow. That mindset, that long game thinking, is one of the biggest separators between people who succeed and people who stay stuck. So if you want to train your mind like a millionaire, stop asking what feels good right now and start asking what moves me closer to who I'm becoming. Because when you delay pleasure, you gain power. Let me tell you something that'll change how you look at your entire life. Problems aren't the enemy. They're the training ground. Most people spend their whole lives trying to avoid challenges, praying for things to be easier, hoping that problems just disappear. But people who've trained their minds for success, the ones who rise to the top, they don't run from problems, they lean into them. Because they know that inside every problem is a gift. Inside every setback is a lesson. Inside every breakdown is the blueprint for a breakthrough. See, the difference between a struggling mind and a millionaire mind is simple. It's not what happens to you, it's what you do with what happens. Everyone gets hit, everyone gets disappointed, everyone deals with failure. But the people who win long term are the ones who train themselves to extract meaning and power from every punch life throws at them. Look back at your life for a second. Some of your greatest growth didn't come when everything was going perfectly. It came after something fell apart. It came after a failure, a betrayal, a loss. And at the time, it probably felt like hell. But if you look closer, that moment taught you something. It built you. It called something out of you. That's how mental strength is forged, through friction, not comfort. You've got to stop seeing obstacles as interruptions and start seeing them as invitations. Life is constantly testing you. Do you really want what you say you want? Are you really committed or just interested? Are you willing to push when it's uncomfortable? Problems reveal the truth. They strip away the fluff and show you who you are and who you could become if you refuse to quit. And here's the wild part. Once you train your mind to expect that problems are part of the process, you stop fearing them. You stop seeing them as stop signs and you start seeing them as signals. It's time to grow. It's time to step up. It's time to get creative. That's how millionaires think. They've conditioned themselves to ask better questions in tough moments. Instead of why is this happening to me, they ask, what is this trying to teach me? Instead of how do I get out of this, they ask, how do I grow through this? That's the mindset shift. And once you make it, problems lose their power to control you. You become more resourceful, more grounded, more resilient because you're not just reacting anymore, you're responding with intention, with strength, with vision. That's what it means to be mentally wealthy. So the next time life hits you, and it will, don't collapse. Don't retreat. Smile. Lean in, because that pressure you're feeling, it's not here to crush you. It's here to call you up. Let me be blunt. Your focus is your most valuable currency. In a world that's fighting for your attention every second of the day, your ability to focus is more powerful than ever. The average person is so distracted, so pulled in 100 directions, they can't even sit in silence for 5 minutes without reaching for a screen. And they wonder why they feel overwhelmed, scattered, burnt out. It's not because they're broken, it's because their mind has been hijacked. Now, millionaire minds, they don't play that game. They train themselves to focus like a laser, not because they're superhuman, but because they understand something most people miss. Where your focus goes, your energy flows. And whatever you feed consistently with your energy grows. You focus on problems, they grow. You focus on opportunity, that grows too. The difference is in your attention, not your circumstances. You have to take your focus back. You have to protect it like your life depends on it. Because in many ways it does. Every great breakthrough, every business, every transformation, every dream come true began with someone locking in on a vision and refusing to be distracted by noise. They said no to 99 things so they could say hell yes to one thing that mattered. Distraction is the silent killer of dreams. It doesn't show up loud and angry. It shows up quiet and polite. A little scroll here, a quick reply there, checking in, checking out, hours gone. Energy drained. And your mind? Fragmented. Every time you switch tasks, every time you divide your focus, you're burning up mental energy, you're leaking power. So how do you fix it? You get intentional, you set boundaries, you start organizing your day around outcomes, not activities. You stop reacting to life and start directing it. Ask yourself every morning, what's the one thing that if I get it done today moves me closer to my vision? And then protect that one thing like it's sacred. It's not about working harder, it's about working with clarity. Because when your mind is focused, it becomes a weapon. It cuts through confusion. It sees patterns. It creates momentum. You stop feeling busy and start being productive. You stop spinning and start building. Focus creates flow. And when you're in flow, time bends, energy rises, and results compound. And here's the thing. Focus isn't just about what you look at. It's also about what you ignore. You've got to train your mind to not chase every impulse, every notification, every shiny object. That's how you build a mind that's calm under pressure and locked in on purpose. That's how you stop living at the mercy of the urgent and start living in alignment with the important. So if you want to train your mind like a millionaire, you better get serious about focus. Because the world isn't going to give it to you. You have to take it back. Let me tell you something that most people never realize until it's too late. Your mind is being programmed every single day, whether you're aware of it or not. The question is, who's doing the programming? If you're not feeding your mind with intention, then trust me, the world is feeding it for you. And what the world gives you, it's mostly fear, scarcity, distraction, and drama. You've got to fight back. You've got to decide what kind of information, what kind of voices, what kind of energy gets access to your mental space. Millionaires, Real millionaires, the kind who build from the inside out, they don't just feed their bodies with discipline, they feed their minds with precision. They're intentional about what they consume, who they listen to, what they read, what they watch, who they hang around, because they know that what goes in shapes what comes out. Garbage in, garbage out, but gold in, greatness out. Look, the mind is like a garden. If you don't plant the right seeds, weeds will grow by default. You don't even have to try. Just let in the wrong energy, negative news all day, toxic conversations, scrolling mindlessly through content that's designed to keep you comparing, doubting, numbing, and soon enough, you'll feel heavy, unmotivated, confused. You won't know why, but the spark will be gone. And it's not because you're broken, it's because you've been unconsciously downloading noise that's not serving you. So if you want to train your mind like a millionaire, start curating what you allow into it. Be ruthless. Build a standard for the kind of information you absorb. Read things that stretch your thinking. Listen to voices that challenge you to rise. Watch stories that inspire, not drain. Get around people who talk about ideas, not other people. Make personal growth your daily ritual, not just something you do when you're feeling down, but something you schedule in like a non-negotiable. And it's not just about motivation, it's about building mental endurance. The stronger your input, the more resilient your mind becomes when life throws punches. You won't crumble at the first sign of stress. You'll remember who you are because you've been feeding your identity with truth, discipline, and purpose. The best athletes, the top performers, the world-class leaders, they all have one thing in common. They train their minds harder than they train anything else. They know that if you can control what enters your mind, you can influence every result in your life. Your emotions, your decisions, your focus, your belief systems, they all start with what you feed yourself. So check your mental diet. Is it building you or breaking you? Are you consuming content that fuels your power or feeds your fear? Because the mind you build in private is the life you'll live in public. One of the biggest lies we've been sold is that you need to feel ready before you take action, that you need to be confident before you start the business, before you have the conversation, before you step on the stage, before you go after the goal. But that's not how it works. Not for people who actually create massive change in their lives. The truth is, you don't need confidence to act. You need courage. Confidence is the result of action, not the requirement for it. Think about it. How many times have you waited for the right time, the right mood, the right support, the perfect conditions? And what happened? Nothing. Because the more you wait, the heavier the fear becomes. The more you think, the more doubt creeps in. But action breaks that cycle. Action disrupts the fear. When you move, when you push forward, even when you're unsure, you build evidence, you show your mind, I can handle this. Millionaire minds are trained for movement, not just motivation. They don't sit around waiting for clarity to arrive. They create it by stepping into the unknown. They understand that perfection is a trap and that momentum is more powerful than mastery in the beginning. They're willing to look foolish, to fail, to figure it out along the way because they know the reward is on the other side of risk. This is where most people get stuck. They think fear is a sign to stop. They think uncertainty means something's wrong. But fear isn't a stop sign, it's a signal. It's telling you that you're stepping out of your comfort zone and into your growth zone. That's a good thing. That's where transformation lives. You've got to train your mind to lean into that discomfort instead of running from it. Every time you take a step while you're scared, you reinforce a new identity. You become someone who acts in spite of doubt, someone who shows up no matter what. That's the identity that builds success, because the world doesn't respond to what you plan to do. It responds to what you actually do. And here's the beauty of it. Once you take that first step, everything changes. Your physiology shifts. Your energy rises. Your belief begins to catch up to your action. That's when confidence is born, not from theory, but from proof, from motion, from showing up over and over again until what used to scare you becomes your new normal. So if you're waiting for the fear to go away, you're going to be waiting for the rest of your life. Stop waiting. Start moving. Because courage doesn't mean you don't feel fear. It means you take the next step while feeling it.